This is Just a Few Questions. I'm Marc Sims. My guest is Laura Washington. Laura Washington is a contributing columnist for the Chicago Tribune and political analyst for ABC7 television here in Chicago. Welcome to the show, Laura Washington.
Thank you, Mark.
I'm so happy you're here, and we're going to be quick and to the point, but I got to ask you first. How long you been a reporter here in Chicago?
Well, it's been a while, decades, I would say. Since I was at the Medill School of Journalism, I always wanted to go into journalism, and there's no better place in the world to do it other than in Chicago.
Wow. Well, that means over 30 years.
I'm not giving numbers out.
You need to be a politician. That was smooth.
You're in somewhere in the ballpark.
There you go, somewhere in the ballpark. So you're the person to ask this question. My question is, why I brought you here is, does the news media, the local news media, own Mayor Brandon Johnson's narrative?
Well, I don't think anyone owns Mayor Johnson's narrative except Mayor Johnson. We all own our own stories, and that's about all we can say we own. The media is monolithic. I don't think the media owns everything or anything as well. It depends on who you're talking about. The media is very diverse. So in terms of what they own and who they own, I would say they own themselves just like Brandon Johnson owns himself. And it's his responsibility and his duty to himself and to his constituents to tell his story. The media is going to repeat and is going to distribute what he says, but it's his responsibility and his opportunity to tell the story in a way that the media will report it favorably for him.
Yeah, I voted for the mayor, and I say that because when I watch the TV news, and of course it's mostly the TV news, is sound bites, I got it, and I begin to not like the mayor based on what I see, my perception of him on local TV news, radio. Am I wrong? Am I going astray?
Right. Well, perception it goes a long way in politics. Whether it's reality, it's very meaningful. And when you're looking at sound bites, when you're looking at short interviews, when you're looking at news reports, you're going to come away with certain perceptions which may not be reality. But that's why the mayor has to find a way to push through his reality. He's got a story to tell. It's not the media's job to tell his story exactly the way he wants to tell it. But if he can spin it right, if he can put a positive spin on it, he can get places with it. What he's trying to do right now is he's trying to reach out to black media, to media that he sees as more favorable to him, because he knows that media will reach the constituents that he wants to reach to. And that's a really smart strategy. You can't hit everybody, and you can't get everybody to agree with you, but you can put a spin on a story and get the story you want if you're strategic.
Well, I'm not a political analyst like Laura Washington, but my perception is that Mayor Brandon Johnson will have to wrap himself in the red, black, and green black liberation flag to have a chance of winning re-election. You're not a soothsayer, but we don't know who's going to run. It all depends. Right. He's got to beat somebody with somebody, nobody, and all that kind of good stuff. But as of right now, if the election were held today with this 6%, so they say, approval rating, he would probably lose, right?
He would probably lose. He would be in the same position that Lori Lightfoot was in her re-election campaign, where he wouldn't even make the runoff. I don't know if the numbers are quite as low as they've been reported in the media, but I think that he has a big challenge ahead of him. He needs the black vote. He needs a significant part or all of the black vote to at least make the runoff. And right now, he doesn't have that based on the data that I've seen. And part of the problem, I think, is African-American voters don't think that he's done enough for them. Now, whether that's true or not, he's got to change that narrative. He's got to tell his story and show and document what he has done and what he will do for the black community if he has a chance to even get into the runoff.
Well, here's the last question. A lot of folks, I had the number in front of me, I'll misquote it. A lot of folks did not vote in that last election. And so what would inspire Chicagoans to vote, come out in mass, the masses to come out in mass in the next Chicago election?
Mark, I don't think the answer is here on earth. I think it's somewhere up in the clouds. I have been frustrated by the lack of voter participation in this city for decades. I don't think we've seen anything like the voter enthusiasm we saw during the Harold Washington campaign, his first campaign. People don't believe in government. They don't believe it works for them. They don't believe that it makes any difference who the mayor is, who the county board chairman is. I think that corruption has a lot to do with it. voters believe that government is corrupt, that there's too many criminals and crooks in City Hall, and so to answer your question, I think one way to actually build voter confidence, and it's going to take a long time, is to get the crooks and criminals out of City Hall and keep them out of there.
I could be wrong, but this ain't the days of Harold Washington. I don't do TikTok. Maybe I should. I'm probably the last person not on TikTok. But people get their news in so many different ways, and they get bits and pieces. And a lot of folks, to me at times, I don't read enough as I should to get these deep analysis. So we get a lot of surface stuff, and we just say, you know what? I just stay at home. There's no point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that not only do we not get enough analysis or detail or data, but we get too much spin. We get too many. It's an echo chamber. What we see on social media is the stuff we agree with or the stuff our friends agree with. So it's just reinforcing the perceptions we already have. So if you don't like Mayor Johnson and you're communicating with other folks who don't like Mayor Johnson, you're just going to reinforce that perception, and you're not going to get facts and information. You're just going to get a lot of opinion and spin.
Well, first, I cannot thank you enough for being my guest on the show. But leave the show by leaving the people a little inspiration, to tell people to go see and find and read Laura Washington.
In the Chicago Tribune every Wednesday. My column is in every Wednesday morning, and in the newspaper and particularly online.